Ready, set, showtime.
And welcome to the Ready, Set, Show podcast, where you can't say anything nice.
We will gladly say it for you.
Trick or treat, bitches, it's DT.
Oogity boogity hoes, it's Lette.
And welcome to the Ready, Set, Show podcast, episode 26. And we're here with some good friends of ours, as we've been telling you guys, they're going to come on the show. Guys, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hey, y'all, my name's Kevin.
I'm Elena.
I'm Austin.
We're with the local crew here is the Greeneville Ghost Hunters, and we're also part of a larger crew that travels the United States. It's called Ghost Hunt Weekends.
Now, y'all travel all over, right?
Correct.
All right, cool. Like, name some places you guys have been, like famous type places, or just people may know.
Well, I'd say the one that most people's going to know, being here in the South, is Moon River Brewery down in Savannah, Georgia. We've been to Jekyll Island, Georgia.
We've also done the Sloss Furnaces in Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama.
Yeah, Birmingham.
Nice.
There's another big one that we've got. What is that?
You
The
guys,
Thomas House. I don't know if a lot of people's going. More motorcyclists would probably know about the Thomas House.
the Thomas House is that one you guys were telling us it's well known, isn't it?
Oh Lord, it's number 2 most haunted in the
US.
U.S. according
Yeah.
to CNN. Yeah.
Wow, what's the number one? I wonder.
Number 1.
What's that? What do they call it? They call it. There's one called. What do they call it? Hell House or something?
It's
I was
a-
trying
I
to
know
think
it-
of that one.
Oh.
They say that
Bobby
one's-
Mackey.
Yeah, there
Bobby
you go.
Mackey. That's number 1 there. Yeah. But Thomas House. I mean, really, it's like 4.5 hours from here going towards Nashville. It's 30 minutes this side of Nashville, as a matter of fact. But like I said, more motorcyclists will know where it's at because it's like a scenic route off the interstate.
Oh, okay.
What is Lebanon?
Lebanon,
And,
Tennessee.
Lafayette
Gallatin.
and Gallatin.
Lafayette. That's
Yep.
it's all in that right there.
Oh, wow.
And it's just an old. We've seen one cop car in the
Wow.
The whole town.
shit.
Yeah.
So I mean, if somebody gets hold of us up there, you ain't gonna
Yeah,
see us
you're,
again.
it's probably like the only cop in the town or
Yeah,
something.
but it's man, that place is. It used to be an old hospital. People go up there for what's the stuff they used to go. I can't think of it now. They go up there to drink the water.
Oh, baptized or
No,
I'm
it's,
saying baptized.
Oh,
water, fucking
I got baptized
water.
too, but,
How
sulfur,
the hell is
Sulfur
that going
water.
into my mind?
sulfur water. That's what it is.
Baptism.
Baptisms. Hey man, we're talking about ghosts. Somebody might get baptized
Well,
before the
I'll tell you
night's
what,
over.
If they drunk it, it baptized their asshole.
Yeah, exactly. So, how did you guys get started? Like, what made you want to go into the
I will
ghost?
let.
Okay, about 6-7 years ago, my mother was actually just scrolling through a magazine. I think it was like Farmhouse or something like that. Tennessee Farm World or something. And she actually saw this little ad, and it said, "Are you interested in ghost hunting? If you do, come visit us at the Thomas House Hotel in Red Boiling Springs for $99 a person." 5 of us ended up going up there, and it's 2 nights. We stayed Friday and Saturday night, and you get an all-you-can-eat buffet breakfast, all-you-can-eat buffet dinner, and that really intrigued her, and she's like, yeah, we're going to do this. So we, of course, paid the $500, and we ended up going, and first time ghost hunting ever, and they, like, saw how much we were into the ghost hunting itself and how much we interacted ourselves on our own, not with just them, but we actually just got invited back, and that's when our whole career in this started.
Oh, so you guys went on a tour yourself,
Yes.
and they liked y'all.
Yes.
Wow, dude.
Yeah.
So y'all must have really stood out.
And there
Yeah,
was
we-
like, I don't know,
I'd say 30,
40 people there that night.
And that's our first time ever.
Yeah.
We were so excited on the way back. We're like, we're going to start our own crew.
We're going to start our own crew.
So
after
you
that.
guys just went from there, started getting equipment.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's start there. Let's start with the equipment. Like, what do you guys use when you go on a hunt?
The basics, like I was saying earlier, we got these little Sony recorders that we got from Walmart. I mean, they're like maybe $40 bucks. So they're not bad. We got this mic booster. You don't have to have it. It's just us. As we're doing an investigation, we like to listen real time. Now,
Yeah.
not all these recorders you can do that. But ours, you can put on the headphones, and as we're talking, we can actually hear if a ghost is trying to communicate with us.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, it's just cause what we're doing, it's not. I mean, we do home investigations, but the ghost hunt weekends is for the fans. We take groups of people in with us to do investigations, so they can experience it.
Wow.
And but we like to listen live, so if we catch something saying hey or hail or whatever, we can play it back and let them hear it. I mean, that's what they're there for,
Yeah.
So that's why we got these. You can listen live with those. But we've got the K2 meters, which detects electromagnetic frequencies, EMFs.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta be careful with them. You seen earlier, it picks up like breaker boxes. If it's putting off big EMF, it'll pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, that's more on the user. Whatever location you're investigating, you do a walkthrough. Okay, and you see where breaker box here, outlet here, whatever's putting off, so
So you start there.
Right, yeah.
So you can...
And then when you do the investigation, if you're doing it and you say, hey, light these lights up, and it lights up, but you're next to that breaker box, it's that breaker box instead of a ghost.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's just, every paranormal team knows how to do that.
Yeah.
What else we got? We got a spirit box.
Now, let me ask you about those, because let's talk about that.
All right.
So, I heard an interesting theory one time. There's a guy on YouTube, I can't think of his, Steve something, that does spirit boxes. He actually made some. Y'all know who I'm talking about? I can't think of his name right off. But there was a guy that had used to work for him, and he come up with an interesting theory on those spirit boxes. I mean, obviously it's not confirmed, it's just his theory, but he said something, and this kind of made sense. He said, well, don't you think in the afterlife that, like, whatever it may be wouldn't allow you, I mean, maybe to say goodbye to somebody, but it doesn't seem like they would be able to communicate with the living like that. So he's thinking, obviously, if you're hearing something, like it's demonic, it's something masking, whatever that voice may be. And I always thought, I really thought about that. Like, what would you say to that? Like, I mean, are the spirit boxes real? Like,
I think so. As far as the demonic part, I mean, that's legit.
Yeah.
They can mimic me.
Yeah.
If I'm talking on there, as a matter of fact, I've had it happen, and I think it was on the ghost box. But I was talking about something, and my voice came back through that ghost box. So I mean, that's possible. But when we think, all right, I'm just I'll use my this not happened, but I'll say my grandma. Okay, I'm trying to contact my grandmother, and I'm using this ghost box. Things that your grandmother's going to say. How she's going to say it, stuff like that. Okay, you have your ghost box scanning through.
Yeah.
All right, now, this don't have nothing to do with the demon part, but the way it operates. You try to get in a location where it won't pick up the radio frequencies. This just eliminates that you're actually picking up a station. And that's common sense, too, because, like here we got Electric 94.9.
Yeah.
Okay, how they get under excited, Electric 94.9.
Yeah.
I mean, if you hear something like you got to
You're going to know that.
Yeah. Yes, we can talk. Well, I don't want to talk, but we can contact the demons.
But you're hoping not.
Right, yeah.
Exactly.
I'm gone.
Yeah.
You have, the way I look at it, say somebody dies in a wreck.
Yeah.
Okay. They may have some sort of unfinished business still here on Earth.
Yeah.
But when they die instantly in this wreck, and they come back to, as a spirit entity or whatever. Now, none of this is confirmed. I mean, we can't. All we can do is prove we got recorders, we got pictures. That's the only proof.
Yeah.
There's no professional out there that can actually 100% prove that ghosts exist.
Yeah.
But when this person dies in this wreck, and it's so quick, when they come back to, as that ghost, they may not even know that they're dead.
Yeah, they think they're alive.
Right. I would think if that was me, I would try any way in the world, by any means, to contact who I need to contact. And maybe even ask questions myself. What happened? Am I dead? How'd I die? Things like that. And yeah, like I said, the demons, they can do that. But as far as people that we know and, common sense, I still believe that the ghosts can come through that spirit box.
Oh, okay.
And,
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we can't prove it, nor can it be unproven.
Yeah.
It's just something that we're all trying to come together and prove that this stuff actually is out there.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's just, it's hard.
Yeah, and I mean, ultimately, it's kind of, you know, a lot of people are seeing is believing. A lot of
Right.
people flat out believe in it. I mean, I believe in it. I've had stuff happen to me. So kind of talk about your all's first, you started your own team. Talk about your first ghost hunt, your very first one.
Our very first ghost hunt ever, we were at the Thomas House Hotel. Never recorded anything before. We had just bought our recorders, cameras. I mean, we were learning everything ourselves, brand new. We apparently had stayed in one of the most haunted rooms at the Thomas House Hotel, and it's room 18. From what we had heard, not many people had actually stayed in that room, and they kept telling us things like people who didn't stay in that room, like they would rent it out for the night doing these ghost hunts, and then they'd go to check on them in the morning, and these people would leave notes and stuff saying, you know, couldn't stay in the room, stuff was happening, had to leave. So we actually spent the whole night in that room.
So, like, do the people on it go, hey, are you guys sure you want to do that?
Well, they're like, well,
Right.
you're new, never been here before, so we're just going to go ahead and shove you in this room and see what happens. And, you know, we're going to call you all the guinea pigs, and, you know, then we'll ask you what happens in the morning. So we spent all night in that room after all the ghost hunting, and we got to talk to several of the, you know, I'm pretty sure it was a child that we were playing with. We were playing with balls and doing all the recordings that night, and we heard some whistles from one of the owners of the hotel who had passed away many years ago. Learned all the stories, and we had actually made it through one whole night of ghost hunting there, and I think it was about 4 or 5 when we finally laid down, and we laid down in the bed, and I was having, of course, trouble going to sleep. And
Now this room, though, I'm going to try to put it in your head here so you can imagine what it looks like.
yes,
I mean, it's just really, it's about the size of a base size bedroom.
Yeah.
It's got one bed in it. The rest don't even have TV.
Yeah.
And it's got I'm going to call it a half a bath.
yeah,
And that's
Okay.
all that's in this room.
Okay.
But it used to be a closet. They would keep their mops and brooms, janitorial supplies in this.
Yeah.
But they turned it into another, like a half a bedroom that's in with their room. Her cousin stayed in that half room, and me and Elaine were in the main bedroom
Yeah.
in the main area. And this is what she's getting ready to tell you. Her cousin, on the way up there, man, this is hilarious. On the way up here, she's praying that something happens to her. She's like, oh, I'm
Every
not
5
going to get
minutes.
scared that this shit
Who
ain't
was?
going to... This
Our-
is her
my
cousin,
cousin.
Nikki.
Oh, hell
she's like,
no.
I pray that something happens. I want it to happen. It better happen. You know, I'm gonna be mad if it doesn't.
Yeah, she wanted something so bad to happen. She didn't care if it's touched, heard something. She wanted it to happen.
Yeah. Everybody does until it happens. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Well, dude, we're asleep. I mean, we're dead out. We was up to what, 3, 4, 5
3,
o'clock
4
in
or
the
something
morning,
in the
so
morning.
We were out. We were dead.
Damn.
And next thing we know, her cousin is running into our bedroom, our part of the bedroom. Lane, wake up, Lane, wake up. She's like, what? We didn't know she got killed or what. 'Cause we
Yeah.
got dead asleep, man.
Yeah.
And she's like, the bed was shaking.
Uh-huh.
And prior to us staying in that room, Chad and Stacey, which they're the owners of Ghost Hunt Weekends,
Yeah.
they're like, okay, this bed came from Barnum and Bailey Circuit. And there's been reports of people that stay in that room, in that bed, that the bed will actually shake. And, you know, being our first time, we're like, nah, this shit, they're full of shit, you know.
Of course, being who we are, we also checked it out too, because we are the biggest. When it comes to saying or seeing things, we want to try to like say it's not real.
Yeah,
That's
if
our
somebody
biggest
says
thing.
that bed shakes, you're going to look to see if they
So we
have
did.
something hooked up to make
We
it
did. We
shake.
looked
yeah.
underneath the bed, made sure there wasn't like a shaker, you know,
Blinds,
device
yeah.
or something that would actually make this bed move while you were laying in it.
I mean,
And
it sounds crazy, but that's realistic, though.
Right.
You're
we
trying
had to. I mean,
yeah.
we're there for the real part of it, and we just wanted to make sure that, you know, the things that we were hearing about this place were real and not being made up or, you know, forced upon you to believe that it was real when it wasn't. So, yeah, we climbed under that bed, and we were looking all over, and we didn't find anything.
Yeah.
I mean, nothing.
And she
Do
jumped
you
up.
do you feel like that's a big misconception with ghost hunters
It's a
and stuff?
huge
because
one.
people don't stop and think like Ed and Lorraine Warren. They always try to disprove first. And
Right.
And that's how we think.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the way it should be. I don't want somebody coming in, oh, this place is haunted.
Yeah.
And
Right.
when you go in and they say, well, there's this noise at this certain time of night or whatever, when it turns out it's the AC kicking on.
Yeah.
And making a door, you know, maybe shut because of the pressure of the air.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing to do is us anyways, our Greeneville Ghost Hunters and Ghost Hunt Weekends, when we go into a location, we try to prove that it is not haunted. We try to debunk every little thing that happens. And that's the best way you're going to be able to prove that there is something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, I mean, it's people don't, like I said, you get these other people that they want it so bad to be haunted, and you're tricking your mind into thinking that this shit's really happening.
Exactly.
You know, and like I said, like the door when the air kicks on, oh, that's a ghost. No, it wouldn't. You got to try to find what is causing that. And then if you can't mathematically, scientifically, common sense, if you can't find out what's doing that, then you start looking at maybe it's haunted.
Yeah, why would somebody want their house to have? Y'all run into people like hardcore people like, I want it to be haunted. Like people like that.
I wouldn't say they wanted it to be haunted yet. I'm sure we'll run into somebody. But we call them paracondraics. And it's like we was just talking a second ago, every little thing that happens is a ghost. And that's, I mean, I guess you're going to run into it forever.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say I call you and I want to get you to come investigate my, like, what do you guys, like, how do you all make the decision, okay, let's go?
She does more of that stuff. I'm just, I'm the guinea pig. I do the crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, usually somebody will call us and they'll be like, I have this problem in my house. I've had it for years. Most of the time it's been since we moved in or something like that. We usually try to get some of the information from them. You know, do you have any information on the house? Do you know when it was built? Do you know what happened there? What are some of the types of things that are going on there? You know, can you explain what happens? And usually people, sometimes more than, you know, other times, these people will overdo a little bit to try to get us to come out there and make it sound like it's more than really what it is. We've had several people call us and say, you know, I've had scratches on my daughter or my son, or, you know, and there's 3, and there's always been this big thing about 3 scratches, you know. But the thing that we found out is it's not always just because there's 3 scratches that there's something bad, you know. So what we try to do is I try to write down all the information, everything that they do and don't tell us. You know, is there something that they're not telling us? And I try to pry into their lives a little bit. You know, what do you do for a living? I mean, people won't think that's, you know, worth anything, but it depends, you know, where do you work? So I'll write all the information down, give them a couple of days, tell them, you know, usually by the next weekend that we'll be out there. And on Friday night, we'll go out there for a few hours, take some of the lighter equipment that we have, and just kind of go through the house and looking for the magnetic field, see if we can figure out some of the things that they've said and try to debunk what they've said to us. Like he said previously, like the air conditioners and all this kind of stuff, because that's big set-offs. And, you know, does their house have a slant in it? You know, because that'd be causing them to open a door. Or, you know, if you step in a certain place on the floor, is that going to make it, you know, do what they're saying, you know, slam a door closed or open it up on its own? Or so we go out there on Fridays, do all this. Usually we'll go out on Saturday night and hold a full investigation if we feel this is something that can be done between, you know, Kevin and I and our crew. And usually the investigation takes 4, sometimes 5 hours. If we find
what time do y'all start again? What did y'all
usually
tell us?
about 10 o'clock at night. It's
Okay.
just easier for us to do it later at nighttime. I'm just gonna tell you this straight out. Just because ghost hunters do this stuff at 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock, doesn't mean anything. If you're gonna have paranormal activity of any kind, it can happen day or night.
Yeah.
You can even catch pictures during the daytime. We've caught several in several locations. This thing that you hear about, this witching hour, 3 o'clock in the morning, it's another big thing for Halloween, and I think it's just pretty much made to scare people. Yeah, it's what they call the witching hour. Sometimes things can happen more promptly at 3 in the morning than they would, say, at 11 o'clock at night, but you got to remember at the same time it's easier for ghost hunters to do a lot of this work at nighttime because people are sleeping. There's less cars on the roadways. I mean, all you're really going to run into is a car here and there, some animals at nighttime if you're like in a place like a cemetery or something like that. But other than that, it's easier for us to do it because we have, you know, less confusion in the background of what we're trying to listen to. So.
Yes.
So it pretty much doesn't really matter what they call and say. It's just we try to keep an open mind about what they're telling us. And then once we get to the actual investigation, we try to debunk what they're saying.
Yeah. Okay. So, I know we talked about this. But have you ever had somebody bring you out there and they were just being assholes, clowning, you know, like, you know?
We have had several, actually.
I've had this one guy. I'm not going to mention his name. I
No.
should, but I'm not going to. And we actually didn't even go to this guy's house. It got so bad.
We kind of refused.
We had a article put in the local paper in the Greeneville Sun.
Yeah.
And this guy just happened to see it in the paper, and he called into my work, which was cool then. He was just trying to get a hold of us.
Yeah.
And he finally got a hold of me, and no kidding, our very first conversation, I talked to this guy for over 2 hours on my cell phone. I mean, he talked shit from what I thought was just going to be ghosts to UFOs and Bigfoot.
Oh,
and
my
God.
Yeah, shit, you know. The biggest thing, his biggest problem was, I guess he was into checking out stars and playing
Oh,
shit. He had these
Jesus.
high-dollar telescopes. And
This is like the telemarketing of the Ghost
no.
Hunters calls.
Yes, yes.
And he had this eyepiece. He said it was like crazy expensive, like thousands of dollars he spent just for this eyepiece for his
What the
telescope. Yeah. He treated it better than his wife.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, he went this far into the conversation.
I mean, he like let it all out, and he was like literally saying that, you know, I love my wife and all, but I treat this eyepiece better.
Yeah.
I was like,
Oh my
really?
God.
I feel like, look,
Dude, this man, he got the eyepiece, and instead of just putting it up in his house somewhere, he has this shed outside. Okay, he has a lockbox in his shed, and he has 2 locks on the door to the shed. So he opens up the 2 locks to his shed, goes in it, opens up his lockbox, puts the eyepiece in the lockbox, locks it up, digs a hole in the ground in the shed, and buries the lockbox. And then he leaves. He locks the 2 locks on the door and leaves, goes back in his house. He said the next day he goes out there, and the eyepiece is gone. With the damn box still in the ground.
and meth heads will dig it up. Hey, they'll be out there all night. I'm telling you.
And he's like, I swear, he said, I know I did not misplace it. I've looked everywhere. And I'm like, are you sure you didn't misplace it?
Call
I
Big
said,
Al's
call-
pawn shop. motherfucker. That's where it's
I
at.
said, because the box is still in the ground. That's almost common sense, you know.
Yeah.
No, I know I didn't misplace it. I'm like, well, okay. Well, let me talk it over with to the crew, and then I'll give you a call back, you know. Well, a couple of days had passed. Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit to contact all the crew, because everybody's got their daily lives. They work.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Stuff like that. So
Yeah,
it takes a little bit.
Y'all don't do this full time just to specify,
Right, yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Well, this guy called. I'm at work, and one of the guys from the office comes to the back. He says, "Kevin, you got a call?" I'm like, "Well, okay." You know, I got my cell phone,
Yeah.
so I go up there, and the person had already hung up. I said, "You get a message?" They're like, "Yeah, the guy's name was such and such." I said, "Are you serious?" They said, "Why? Do you know him?" Yeah, it's that damn guy that called about the ghost.
Yeah.
And dude, I kid you not, this guy called me at work, no kidding, probably 7, 8 times a day, every day for a month. I mean, it was that bad, calling my cell phone, calling my workplace. And this went on for a total of probably, what, 3, 4 months? And I just started, I'm like, you know, I'm ignoring this dude because
Yeah.
he's just way gone. Like I said, when he started talking about UFOs and the chupacabras.
And then you
shit.
skip to an eyepiece dug in the ground. Hey, we gotta end this call.
And
Yeah.
I mean, that's not all. You know, after we pretty much, I mean, we don't want to be rude to people. Okay, we're trying to hit every house. Okay, we have a list of people that we have to go through.
Yeah.
So we can't keep up with everybody because there's such demand for our crew to come to their houses. So, you know, we're trying to put this guy off nicely as we can, but eventually he calls back and he's like, "Man, I have to tell you, I'm sorry." He said, "I found that eyepiece."
Yeah.
Harry goes like, "Really? You found it?" He's like, "Yeah, I found it. I just put it in a room and forgot to lock it up in that box before I buried it." I was like, okay, so see,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that could have wasted our time.
Yeah.
We could be giving our attention to somebody else who really needs it instead of somebody who's flipping out because they heard, you know, there's ghost hunters in town. So it's something we got to take care of.
When you're going down the list, you got the Smith family, huh? You don't get on the eyepiece.
Right.
misplacement,
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, you're going to put that dude off.
It's kind of a thing. You got verses. Okay, there's this one family calls you because they think they have what they call the black-eyed children in their home, and you know that's a real problem for us. And
I
then you
want
got
you to
this
tell
guy
that
with the
story.
eye Oh,
Yeah.
the Black Eyed Children. Okay.
I mean, when you're done, yeah, just
You know, it's kind of a win-win situation. You know, you want to help both of them, but you have one crew, one set, objective, and then you have someone really crying for help, and then you have somebody. Well, I think I may have locked it in the box, and buried it in my garage, but I'm not sure. So who do you pick?
Well, and when you started, I like it more than my wife. I mean, I think the call's over from there. I mean, let's be honest. I think we'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
But I mean, so did you guys kind of learn as time goes on, like, okay, this is something we need to look into, as opposed to like a call like that? I mean, were you
Yes,
guys ever
definitely.
kind of fooled at first when you first started, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like, welding class where you can just go to Walter State or whatever and take classes.
Yeah.
No.
It's pretty much trial and error.
Yeah.
And try to learn from other people, other teams. Like I said, there's nothing out there where you can go. I mean, you can research library books, stuff like that. You can do it, but you just gotta go with the flow.
Well, who
And
kind of did you guys learn from? Like, who was?
ours was Chad and Stacey.
Chad and
with
Stacey
Ghost Hunt
Morin.
Weekends, Yeah.
Yep.
That very first event we went to that we found that magazine is
Really?
And it wasn't long, after we went to that investigation with them.
It was actually just a couple of weeks, and then we got a phone call
Yeah.
because we decided to come back to Greeneville and start our own crew up, and we didn't really think about anything about going back. And then I got a call while he was at work that day, and he's like, "Well, I've got a question for you. This is gonna sound crazy." He said, "Do you guys want to come back? At this point, we just spent $500. We can't really afford to come back right now." And he's like, No. He said, "I want you to come and audition." And we're like, "Audition for what? Like to be the bait?" I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, we had a lot of crap happen to us that night, and I was like, he's got to be kidding with us. This is a joke. So I was like, "Are you for real?" He was like, yeah, I want you guys to come back out and spend another weekend with us. He said, "We want you the whole weekend." He said, "And I want you to audition for us." And I was like, "So how do we do that?" He's just like, "Bring all your stuff and come out and join our crew and stay the night, as crew for the night, and let's see what you got." And
Man, that's awesome.
after that,
Yeah.
it took off, and we've been with them for 6-7 years now. And
If not
So you
longer.
guys
if
just
it's
stood
not
out
longer,
to
I
them.
think it might be longer.
Yeah.
You
And
guys just stood out that much to
Yeah,
them
I
that they
guess,
wow,
yeah.
dude, that would be awesome.
The way it goes when we do an investigation with them, for the people, we split into different groups.
Yeah.
We could have up to 6-7 different groups depending on how many people's there. So we would be in a group, with like Chad.
Yeah.
And we sort of sit back and just watch, see how he done everything, how he asked the questions, as far as staying on subject about this question, and the way he used his equipment and kept the people involved. And we, it was with Chad, and we'd maybe be with Stacey the next investigation. So it was a lot of sitting back and watching and taking it in and learning it, but they also included us in it.
Right.
Well, Kevin, I'm not getting much nothing. Why don't you try for a little bit? See if you
Oh
can get
man, that's
something from
cool.
that.
Yeah.
And that's how it came about. And then finally we got pushed in to where we had our own group. And it was just me and Elaine. We didn't have Chad, Stacey, or Felix or anybody else. It's just us. And that's how we learned it. I mean, it's just sit back watching and learning and keeping up with all the new tools and equipment and
Learning
see
how
where
they
it
work.
can Go, yeah.
And we've actually gone from, over a period of, like I said, 6-7 years. I think it's actually even 8 years. We've gone from such a small crew. There were very few of us when we first started this with Ghost Hunt Weekends, and then all of a sudden it took off, and we actually broke off into like a northern group and a southern group is what you could call it. The
Legion.
South
Yeah.
Legion crew,
That's
and then we actually
badass.
have a northern Legion crew.
Do you have your shirt on?
Yeah, you
No,
actually
it's a really cool, actually.
Legion, dude. That sounds
Yeah,
sick.
there's so
dude.
many.
The tribal thing that goes on our arms.
It's an arm patch, yeah.
It's an arm patch, and it's in like a little shield, and then there's a Trojan
Oh,
soldier
hell
inside
yeah.
of it with the
Dude,
helmet.
that is
They're
awesome.
cool.
And then it actually says Southern something,
Look,
South Legion, North Legion on
Yeah.
our shirts. So we actually broke off, and now we're able to do several different locations when we're, when it's just one weekend, because it's, of course, Ghost Hunt Weekends. And most of our investigations are done, Fridays, Saturdays, Sundays. except for like Halloween time. We actually have one that's Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and you leave home, to go home on Sunday.
Yeah.
But we are able to do several big places at one time. Like the northern one actually goes for, I think we're now doing like the old Paulding jail, and we could do that, and we can do Thomas House at the same time, or we can do we have an old carnival, the one that we do. It's in Kentucky.
No, Virginia. You're talking about the amusement park.
Oh, the amusement
Virginia,
park.
yeah.
Yes, it's in Virginia. And we can do that and then, say, do another big one. So we're hitting the northern and the southern states at the same time.
Nice.
Which is really cool, being able to do more than one investigation. And usually we have somewhere up to like 10, 12 crew members at a time when we're doing this at different locations. So we've really grown in just that short amount of time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Oh,
So let's dive inside the mind. Like, cause like, we've all seen the movies. I mean, my movie would last like 2 minutes. As soon as something flung across the house,
I'm getting the fuck out of there.
I'm
I'm done.
because a lot of these people see ghosts like they don't have enough money to move. But like, what gives you all, like, what says when they're like, oh, the hell with this? You guys are like, hell, we'll stay the night. Like, how do you? Go into that. I mean, I'd be scared shitless, wouldn't you? I hit my mic. I was so damn scared.
That's what scared you back in the equipment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me, I'm just ignorant.
You just like
just
it.
ignorant. I like it, man. I do. I'm actually like the guinea pig. The
Yeah,
way they
pretty
put
much.
it.
But I mean, you have to be like that, though, right? I mean, you can't go
well,
into it and.
I mean, we got some, man. I mean, it's funny. They're ghost hunters, and I mean, they'll do a lot, but they like draw a line when it comes as far as to like, there's this creepy noise in this really dark basement area.
Like
they won't do it.
What?
Yeah.
You
It's
gotta
kind of like,
do it.
well, if we're just going to put you down there by yourself and see what happens. Oh, no, you're not.
Yeah.
That's where he comes in, because he's not afraid of that stuff.
So Kevin's the guy that'll go down the creepy
Yeah.
I'll tell you
hall.
what, we went to
Yeah.
this one place called Rhodes Hall, and down in the basement area where they had all their stock or whatever, then from what they used to have down there, there was this wall built, and it closed off an entire room. The only way into this room, because there was no door, was this hole that had been knocked out by something, and it was just the size of your body. That's all it was, and it was really high up off the ground. So one of the guys went over and helped lift Kevin up into this hole. You couldn't see anything in this entire room. So they lifted him up, put him in this hole, and he's in there, and all you can hear is, yeah, it's dark. He's like, okay, we're going to leave you alone now. He's like, okay, see ya. So we all leave, and he's like literally down in this basement by himself. Of course, we have radio communication the whole time. And like, even I wouldn't stay down there at the time, because I was just like, okay, because if more than one person's down there, and if he hears something, it's going to knock into what we want to find out. So we had to have one person stay, and he decided to be that guinea pig. And, then at the end, we were kind of stupidly thinking, how the heck we going to get him out of this hole?
Yeah.
Is there something inside this room to get him out with? But yeah, he'll be the guinea pig to most of our investigations.
But now it's crazy though. I'll do that. But when it comes to jump scares, I'm the biggest sissy around.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah, so easy. But yeah, I'll go into any spot. Now, like I said, I was talking about drawing lines though. I do have a line I won't cross, and that's when it comes to the demonic shit.
Yeah.
I talked about earlier.
No.
I've had something where we were at a house, and there was a growl in the room, and that's it. I
Yeah.
told everybody to get out.
Yeah.
I don't play with that shit.
Uh-uh.
No. But I'm the guinea pig.
But I mean, if you'll find somebody to help the person. Like
Oh,
if you
Lord,
guys,
yeah.
I mean,
As far as
We
like
do.
the local investigations here, there's not been anybody yet that we've not went to help.
really, okay.
We will at least go. I mean, because people will tell you, like we was talking earlier, they'll amp up their story to make it sound real freaking creepy.
Right.
Yeah,
You
so
know,
you'll
we
definitely
got
come in.
demons and shit was being thrown, blah blah blah. We'll still go check it out. Most of the time, it's not what they're saying. Yeah, they're haunted, but it's nothing demonic, we think. But if it ever gets to that point, there's somebody, that we can call to go out and help bless it, find out whatever needs to be done.
How do you determine if it's demonic or not? Like, I mean, is there specific thing you look for, or?
As far you're shaking your head. You go ahead and say it.
Okay, the best scenario I can give you is one of the investigations that we had done. It's the easiest way to explain it. So we went into this person's house. They called us over and over, really begging us to come out there. And they're like, this stuff's going on and we can't figure out what's going on. And I was like, okay, so we'll be out there. Did it for a couple weeks, actually. We went back to this one place several times because the amount of things that were happening, we couldn't ourselves explain, So it took multiple investigations to figure out what was going on. And like I said earlier, this was one of the houses that they were claiming that something was going on really bad. So, of course, took lots of time to investigate it. Try to dig in real deep to the family history, what was going on with the house. Well, we happened to be sitting in the living room and we're doing our investigation. I think it was like the second or third time. We hadn't really paid attention to the things that were in the house. Yeah. So we were looking around and we're looking, and all of a sudden, I look over on the wall and I see this picture. And I was like, okay, okay. So I'm looking to the right of that picture and there's another one. And I was like, oh God. I was like, Kevin, there's black-eyed children pictures on their wall. And Kevin goes, what? I was like, there's there's a little girl and there's a little boy. I said, and they're on their wall. I said, and they're saying that all this bad stuff keeps happening and they can't figure out what, people getting scratched in the middle of the night. But then again, you have to look at, okay, is there more than one person in that bed? Do they have long fingernails? Could they roll over and just accidentally scratch somebody? Yeah. So we try to knock all that stuff out. Of course, this person was sleeping by themselves. So it really was hard to kind of claim that the scratches on their back in the 3s and 4s, it wasn't just 3, that, were from a cat or something, and this person didn't have any animals in the house at the time when that happened. So we got to look and I was like, do me a favor. Take those pictures down, get rid of them. So we're sitting here explaining the black-eyed children thing to them. I was like, look, it's a way for the demons or demonic entities to try to get inside your home. They can show up in many different ways. One of the biggest ways is they'll look like children. Yeah. Really late at night, knocking on your door. Let me in, I'm cold. I've lost my way. I don't know where I'm at. Anything to get you to let them inside their house. So you let them in the house and then all this bad stuff starts happening. Well, I was like, just do me a favor, take those down, throw them outside, burn them, do whatever, just get rid of them. She's like, okay, yeah. Well, they ended up not getting rid of the pictures. And they actually took them down and turned them around and put them outside by their shed. I was like, there, everything should be fine now, that you've got rid of it, because we asked them, did you get rid of them? Yeah, they're gone. Okay, well, they call us again the next weekend. They're like, you've got to come back. Something's not right. Okay, well, what's wrong? The pictures are back. What do you mean the pictures are back? I thought you told us you got rid of them. No, they came back. We just set them out by the shed, and now they're back on our wall.
Did they not find that the kids had black eyes was a little weird? Why would you hang that on your wall? I was like,
first of all, you didn't do what we asked you to do. We told you exactly how to handle some of this stuff, but you're not listening to what we're telling you. If you had actually gotten rid of them, burned them, drowned them, just whatever, just get them away from your house, then the stuff inside your house would probably calm down and go away. Yeah. Oh, well, of course, they didn't listen to us, and now they're stuck with these black-eyed children pictures hanging on their wall again, so... Well, we had to, tell them exactly how to get rid of them again, and they believed us this time because things were getting worse, things were flying off their shelves and getting knocked over, and this is the stuff that they were telling us was going on. Of course, I have to claim it did not happen while we were there. We heard a lot of noises and stuff going on, but... So, as soon as they got rid of those pictures, they actually did burn them, and then they drowned the ashes that were left from them, and they never had a problem again.
I mean, what kind of people were these people? Because why would you have
very interesting people, let me tell you. I won't say names, of course, but yes, very interesting. So, I mean, we run into this kind of stuff all the time, but like he said, if it's demonic or whatever, we're usually going to be able to tell a difference. If it's, something...
It's like it gives off a different energy.
It does.
Yeah.
A lot of the times you'll get a really heavy feeling on your chest, or you might not feel so good. You get really bad headaches.
If I get scared, if I get that feeling,
it's pretty much demonic.
Damn bad.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to brag about it. It's just
I
am where I am the guinea pig for everybody.
Yeah.
We had an instance in Tracy City, Tennessee. The house we had been to the other location, and I got to the house. And at first, everything was pretty cool. It's going like always. And all of a sudden, I just start feeling sick and I get this headache. And I'm, at first I thought, well, I'm just going to blow it off, keep going, And the longer I went, the stronger the headache got and the more sick I felt. And I've never had that stuff happen before. And it got to the point where I think it's Whitney. I told Whitney, she's another person with her crew, both crews actually. I said, Whitney, I got to go outside. I said, y'all can stay if you want to, but something in here is just, it's getting, I can't take any more of the pain from the headache and the sick feeling. And as soon as I stepped outside, I was perfectly fine. The headache was gone, the nausea was gone. Yeah, so there was definitely something evil in that house. And I felt it. That's the first and actually the last time I felt like that. So I can sort of tell there. You just get that feeling that it is something demonic, or if you're just dealing with a normal ghost.
Have you all ever had like an investigation where you maybe couldn't get rid of it, or have you all always been?
Not yet. Not yet, I think. Now, not all people want it gone.
Right. We've
Whatever.
actually been
Wow.
to several where they're saying, well, if you figure out what it is, we don't want you to get rid of it. We just want to learn how to, interact with it. And we're like, okay, well, we can teach you how to do that. If you don't want it to go away, but you just got to make sure that it doesn't do things like hurt you or scratch you or cause problems in your everyday life. So we've actually done several investigations where they've come to us and said, well, if you get rid of it, we're going to be upset. So, we'll actually,
Yeah.
Wow.
I think some of these people actually believe that maybe some of these entities that could be there could be family. And they don't want their family members gone from their lives. So apparently, this is something they've just decided they're going to do, but they want to learn how to interact and live with it.
Or they could profit off of it too,
Yeah.
right? They
That's
could,
a scary thought. Yeah, it is. But, if they're okay with them staying there, then no, we're not going to do anything to help get rid of them. As long as they're comfortable with living in the house that, has things going on. So, other than that, we do what they ask pretty much.
Now, we've had one, which we've not got to investigate it yet. The way that she would talk to me and was worried about it, I actually believed this girl that there's this demonic shit going on. Like I said, we've not got a chance to do it yet. Now, that may be one that we may not be able to handle.
Really?
But the stuff she's saying, it sounds pretty crazy. She was telling me things like she had a friend that the house recently burnt, and I guess they were going back to see what they could salvage, stuff like that. And they already knew that something was going on in the house. And they would name, well, one of them's, my uncle. The other one's my cousin. The other one's my sister.
Wow.
But they said there's this one that was evil. And like I said, it's just the tone and shakiness of her voice, you could actually tell that she was being honest about it. And she said the demonic one, the dude stepped up on the steps on the porch, and it dragged him inside the house.
Oh, see, no. I'm going to pass this on to Reverend James. I got a house you need to holler at.
Yeah. And she said it actually tried keeping him in the house, and somehow he got free and come running outside.
So do you all want to come over? Hey.
And they called us, yeah. And like I said, I'm ignorant and stupid enough. I'm going to go try it. But like I said, that may have been one that we couldn't have helped with. I know the house had burnt down, but it's not always the house that's haunted. It could be the land.
It could be the person too, right?
It could be the person. An old antique that you bought, it could attach to it. So it could be anything. So somebody's planning on rebuilding back there. If I can help it for whoever the next tenants may be, I'm gonna go try. And when we go do that one, if we get a chance to do it, that may be one, but so far we've not run into anything. We've been able to help everybody so far.
Do you all ever worry that it could follow you, be in your all's lives?
Yeah, Lena tells this story pretty good too. We've actually had something follow us on one.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I have to keep stressing this because it's the greatest place. Okay, it's one of my all-time favorites. We were at the Thomas House Hotel, Red Boiling Springs. We had an investigation out there one weekend. We went up early Friday. We stayed all Friday night, all Saturday, and we come home Sunday. I had my niece with me, Whitney, Kevin was driving the car. And we're coming home. We had a pretty rough weekend that weekend. We had a lot of stuff going on, real crazy stuff. And we get in the car and we're driving home, taking that 4-hour drive. And we get home and it was so late at night that she just decided to stay at our house. So she's like, I'm just going to crash on your couch. I was like, fine, I'll take you home in the morning. So we get up and it's about 2 in the morning, maybe. I don't know. It was really late. Again, like I said, close to that 3 o'clock in the morning mark, but it wasn't 3 o'clock yet. And she comes flying down the hallway. Lette, get up. I was like, what is it? What is it? She said, come out here. So I ran to the living room. She said, you're never going to believe what happened. She said, no, in our kitchen, we had the blinds, the side blinds that go, I don't know, side to side. Just the little white mini blinds. Okay, so they were down and closed. And she said, I was just sitting here and I couldn't sleep and it was really bothering me. And all of a sudden, like, it looks like somebody stuck their finger right in the center and just opened it up and was looking at me. I said, in my kitchen? She said, yeah. So, okay. I said, being ghost hunters, you've got to just kind of let some stuff go. Not think so much about it. Don't overthink, because when you overthink, and your body's going to react and you're going to get freaked out. So she's like, you're right. I'm ghost hunter. She said, I'm just going to blow this off and I'm going to go back to sleep. I was like, good. Well, that same night, something else happened to me in my room, which was very odd because our house is not active. I had to wake up in the morning because I had to do the same thing. I had to blow it off. I was like, this is not happening. I know what's going on. Something followed us. Something got in our car when we left the Thomas house. So the same thing pretty much happened to me. Only I had I had drapes in my room. It was covering our window. They were completely closed. And this was just a few minutes after she had told me what had happened. And I was like, nope, I didn't just see that. Fingers right in the center. Only my blinds opened up sideways, like somebody had just opened my window. I was like, nope. Now I know for sure that there's something here and it's got to go. So we actually had another investigation back at the Thomas House Hotel the next weekend. So I literally told, you have to demand what you want when you're talking to them. You can't just be like, well, I want you to go. You can't be like that. You have to be like, all right, let's go. You're not allowed here anymore. This house is protected by something different. You need to go home. It's time to leave. So I actually opened my front door and I said, get out of my house. I want you to go home. It's time to go home. We're going back, and you are going. And they tell you to be forceful when you really want them to listen. So I also had Kevin open the door of the car. Whitney was in the car as well, and she's like, well, it's riding beside me. I was like, just get over it. Okay, so after I told her to pretty much, get over it. This is something that I have to tell her a lot because she's just very strange. We love her. Kevin told her to get in the car too, and it didn't have a choice. And we drove all the way to the Tom's house, another 4 hours. And as soon as we got there, I told her, to get out of the car. We opened the door and said, this is it. Get out. You're home. You're not allowed to come back with us and ever again. You have to stay here, unfortunately. And believe it or not, when we went home that weekend, we never had a problem again. So
awesome.
It is real. They can follow you. They can attach to you. It doesn't matter who you are or what you do. I mean, if they feel some kind of a bond to you, they can attach to anything.
So it could just be something, or they could just follow you just for the hell of it.
Follow you.
Yeah. I think
It's
that
just
might, yeah.
something they like, I guess.
So, all right, now let's talk, skeptics. I'm sure you all probably deal with them. You might probably every now and then there's some asshole like Lette.
Yeah, like me.
Like Lette.
Like me.
Like Lette.
Like
Lette,
me.
you're full of questions on this show.
You
I
know
got to
it,
tell
man.
you. Thank you for the help. I appreciate it.
I said oogity boogity at the beginning. You got that.
I think we're listeners, not skeptic.
But Lette, you're kind of a skeptic, though, on a serious
Yeah.
note. Why? Explain why.
Why to me? Because, I have to have it happen to me.
Okay.
It's the same reason I'm basically an atheist.
Okay.
So
you
just ties in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to see it in order.
I have to see it to believe it. Even though I've had some spooky shit happen to me, I still.
Well, let's talk about it, Lette.
Okay.
All right.
Which one you want to hear about?
Both of them.
All
Go.
right. I've had two things happen to me. When I was little, it was me, my sister, my brother. My sister is a year and a half younger than me, and my brother he's born in 99. I was born in 95. Well, we were at home alone. I was about 7. And my dad was at this piece of land at the end of the road. Nowhere to be seen. He was feeding our hogs and shit. My mom was outside. We was just chilling in the living room, and all of a sudden, I just hear a man's voice. He just goes, hey. I'm like, looked at my sister. I'm like, Dad's not here, is he? And she goes, no. I walk outside. My dad's truck's not there. I was like, Mom, somebody yelled at us. And we told her what happened. It was a man's voice said, hey, we lived in a 1-bedroom farmhouse. So until this day, we don't know who the fuck it was. Some random dudes saying, hey. It wasn't my brother because, I mean, he was like 5, so he had a high-pitched voice.
Oh.
That was one instance. And the other one involves, we played with a Ouija board. It was me and my cousin. My uncle just passed away, I'm going to say 6 months prior to this, in the room beside of us. And I was basically wanting to talk to my great uncle one last time. And for some reason, my cousin had a Ouija board in the closet. And I was like, fuck it, let's do it. I was in 7th grade. That was my attitude. Fuck it, let's do it. I've never played with the Ouija board. Well, I was like, Floyd, I was like, are you enjoying the afterlife? And the fucking thing spelled out yes.
Why?
I don't know if Ashley was fucking with me.
Probably.
And then I was just like, all right, man. I was like, I'm going to leave you alone. So we told him goodbye. Later that night, I was sitting there. I put my head out the window and yelled at the dogs or some shit. And as soon as I brought my head back in, the window closed. It was latched on both sides, so both of the latches slipped somehow, slammed straight down. It should have caught at least 4 more latches. It was all the way up.
And you're a skeptic?
Yeah.
Jesus.
It
pretty
slammed down.
hardcore.
It slammed down. I was just like, Floyd, quit fucking with me and leave me the fuck alone.
Was his name Floyd?
His name was Floyd. My great uncle's name was Floyd. As soon as I did that,
Damn, he used to try to shut windows on you?
we used to bust wood together. I used to get drunk with him all the time.
Oh, so he'd be like, okay.
We just sit there. His nickname for me was Gabby, so he'd just tell me to shut the fuck up all the time or like throw something across the room. But yeah, I told him to leave me the fuck alone, and
I wanted to talk to this man.
and I wanted to talk to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, like nothing else happened that night. But like I'd get shit because the room he died in was the room I used to sleep in.
Yeah.
But nothing would happen while I was in the room. It's only when I was in Ashley's room, which was right beside it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? So I just yelled at him, told him to leave me the fuck alone, and nothing ever happened.
Wow. So, you guys probably deal with skeptics. Like, what's some stuff like you're like, yeah, these people they don't believe this, or they don't like? How do y'all deal with skeptics? People that may say, hey, this is all BS. You know.
Well,
hey,
we've had a few come to some of our events with Ghost Hunt weekends, and I mean they'll tell us. Matter of fact, Chad asks if there's any skeptics.
Any
when we
skeptics,
start.
yeah, before we start.
And I mean, really, about the only thing you can do is, you know, skeptics going to be looking to see if something's rigged. You know, like that bed shaking. Like, well, matter of fact, we did it. They look see if something's attached to it to make it shake. They're looking for speakers for the noises to be coming out. The only thing really that we can do is try, you know, as we're doing the investigation, you know, when we hear something, that's where the debunking comes in. You know, all we can do is try to debunk it and include that skeptic in it while we do it. You know, say we heard something, say, hey, you know, and it depends on how big of a skeptic they are. Say we go around the room, did you say hey? Did you say hey? You know, everybody says no. You know, if they're a real big skeptic, or well, somebody's lying. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't do nothing about that.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing that we do is we just try to include them more so than anybody else because they don't believe, and say, well, you know what, we heard this noise, why don't you come with us and let's see if we can recreate it. And
that's
in my
actually
opinion,
good,
that's the best way.
Yeah,
to
exactly.
do it. And you know, like Charlotte was saying, all right, I don't believe unless I see. Now, that's not going to happen a lot. Like I said, we've been doing this for almost, might as well say, 10 years now. I've seen something one time, and that's it, just the one time. Other than that, it's just all audio. Okay, so as far as seeing it, it's going to be hard to prove that way because it's such a rare thing that happens.
So you'll get somebody to be like, oh, we didn't see nothing. This is fake.
Yeah. And that, I mean, they're going to do their thing. You
They
know,
probably
I
don't
mean,
talk like
said,
that. Letty was looking at me
What the
like,
fuck, man? Do I sound like that?
Like, who did not? I wasn't talking about you. I'm just saying you'll have that one person like, let me tell you something that happened to me. you know, we used to always go hit haunted houses, and, you know, I mean, ours wasn't ever really like, hey, man, John said that it was haunted over here, so, you know, we would be the idiots that go do it. And it was fun to me. I always enjoyed it, and you always got that one person that goes with you. It's like, oh, this is bullshit. Like, you'll really hear something, see something. You could even take a damn picture, and they're standing there, and they're just not going to believe it. Well, we went to Irwin, and this is actually a place I didn't want to go. They said it was an old children's tuberculosis hospital. I'm like, look, there's no happy ending to this story. You know, this is going to be horrible. I was like, God, dude, I'm an idiot. But I went, and we were looking through, and we started hearing stuff, and this chick the whole time was just, oh, this is, come on, guys, let's go. And then all of a sudden, I thought she was having a stroke. But it was like she was choking. And I mean, so bad. I mean, tears were like coming. I was
Holy
like, oh
fuck.
shit. Like, what's wrong with this chick? I was like, is she on drugs? So we get her out of there, man. And I mean, no sooner we pull off that property, dude, she just snapped out of it. And I was like,
Holy
oh
fuck.
shit. And I was like, yeah, dude, you might just want to be quiet.
Was she
but
a skeptic?
yeah, she was. I mean, man, if I was a ghost, I'd be like, God, I want this bitch to shut up. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, she just would not stop. And I mean, it kind of ruins your time. I mean, because I believe in it.
Yeah,
you know?
and actually, you know, this as far as the skeptic, we've had this happen quite a bit. I mean, we'll go to a location that's just insanely active.
Yeah.
And if you get enough skeptics there, it declines the activity. I mean, they feed off of our energy.
Yeah.
You know, if we're there, you know, feeling like we want to have a good time, it's going to be super active, ramped up about it, the entity can draw that energy and actually do the things it needs to do to prove that it's there to us.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, you get that skeptic, and that person just brings that energy down. And it's like the spirit can't draw enough to do anything, because they got to have a certain amount before they can do anything. So it brings that energy down, and it just ruins it. It's just that feeling, you know?
Yeah,
It just ruins it for everybody.
Yeah, and I don't know. You want to go in. I feel like you just should always be open-minded. I mean, you never know. Like, you guys, you know, can probably vouch for this. People need to know you're not always going to see stuff, right?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
I got this saying from Chad, as a matter of fact. We compare it to fishing.
Yeah.
All right, you can go to your favorite fishing hole on Saturday and catch 40, 50 fish.
Yeah.
There's one right after the other. You go back to that same spot the next day and you won't catch shit.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. I mean, there's so many factors that goes in to the activity happening. You just never know. I mean, it's happened. You know, we call the Thomas house, I call it our honey hole. You know, usually you go there, you're guaranteed something to happen.
all the time.
Something. That's just how it is. And we went back a couple of times, and there was absolutely nothing.
It seems like, though,
Yeah.
people get a lot more activity, though, when they're not filming, when they're not recording.
Yes.
Why do you think that is?
You want to take that one?
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
curious.
I'll let you take
The
that.
biggest thing is, I think they play around with you a lot. When you're wanting to sit there, I mean, sometimes we'll go with huge groups, and we've noticed when we have these really big groups, we'll be sitting there asking questions for hours or trying to get them to flicker a light or something, and nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. And it's like we're begging them, and then we get to the point where we'll be like, you know, you got to do something, you know, please do something. And then we're like, most of the time, some of us will get so irritated, we'll be like, okay, well, you're just, you know, too dumb to touch that light, you know, and then we'll try to trigger, you know, to get them to do it, and you just won't get nothing. And, you know, as ghost hunters, we kind of get irritated with that, because our biggest thing is to find out, you know, are you here in this room with us? Are you real? You know, and this is our huge debate. And we found with smaller groups, sometimes you'll get better activity. I don't know if it's the amount of energy. You'd figure with a bigger group that you would get more energy coming out of an entity or a spirit, whatever you want to call them. And we found with smaller groups, they come through when you're having normal conversations, and they come through when you're not even asking them questions, but when you sit there, you know, what's your name? You know, how old are you? Are you male? Are you female? And you're asking the same questions, but sometimes you can get to the point where you're asking so many of the questions over and over and over, and I think they get annoyed with you.
Yeah.
I really do feel like they do. And then they just don't want to answer you, you know, but you can be sitting here having a normal conversation, you know, what happened with the football game this weekend? And you'll hear, you know, something come through, and you're like, well, that was odd. You know, I sat there for 5 hours asking, you know, the question and never got a thing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think they literally pick off of certain people's energy, and it's the kind of energy that you carry. We also, some of the times that we've noticed, we carry these amplifiers, I guess you could say. It puts off energy. It's an EM pump, and sometimes whenever we're not getting anything for hours, we can actually turn that on, and it puts off so much energy, and we allow them to draw off of it, to try to get them to come out and do stuff, or have the energy to be able to turn the flashlights on, or talk to us through the spirit box. And it's just, it's a win-win situation. You know, win-lose, I don't know how you want to say it. It like you said, it's like fishing, and I think they nitpick when they want to talk to you and when they don't want to.
Yeah, just sometimes they want to communicate. Sometimes,
sometimes
they may
just
not.
don't.
And sometimes you may be editing your podcast by yourself in your house,
just
and
like,
you'll hear a
"Hey,
strange
Daniel."
voice.
Yeah, and so I mean, sometimes it depends on the type of hunting too.
Yeah.
You know, you was talking about like a film crew. There's a couple different types. You have a residual haunting, and then you have an intelligent haunting.
Okay.
Intelligent, you know, it can do what it wants when it wants.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it wants to go over here and turn your stove on, it'll go over and turn the stove on. That's the intelligent haunting. Residual is something, you know, that happens. Say you have an 80-year-old man that wakes up every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning, goes gets him a cup of coffee, sits down in his chair, watches TV, reads the paper, and he done that every morning for 40 years. Okay, and he dies off, and he still does that. That's a residual haunting. He keeps doing that same thing every day.
Like a routine.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So that may be a reason, you know, for a film crew anyways, they come in to film. Maybe it's a residual type of haunting, and it does its thing, you know, say maybe on just Mondays. You don't get nothing Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's just Mondays.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's a couple things that can go in that. And mainly, though, the electromagnetic field, it needs that energy.
Yeah.
If it don't have the energy, it's not going to do much. And it can get it from cell phones. I mean, computers, anything that puts off that energy, it can use it. But there's a lot that goes into play. Sometimes I just want to be an ass.
Yeah.
You know, no one do shit.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's say you're doing an investigation, and that's the worst Bluetooth speaker in the history of Bluetooth. I'm telling you,
That's a ghost,
she's
man.
lazy, man. She's lazy.
You got a ghost on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. Damn Bluetooth, but thank you, Joy. But what's like a worst case scenario when you all go do an investigation? Like an investigation gone wrong, something you all didn't happen, something that says, "Hey, look, we're shutting it down. We're out of here." I know the demonic would be one.
Right.
But let's say something. What else?
You know, right now, I mean, we've not had anything like that happen with us. Now, we know other teams, and matter of fact, it's been on TV before, too, where they would be doing an investigation, and you know, it all starts with the feeling. You just get that weird feeling, you know, the headache, the nauseousness, or something. Something just don't feel right. And then somebody gets attacked. In my opinion, if that ever happens to us, that's where the line's going to be drawn. If somebody gets hurt
or
it
attacks,
that's it.
Yes.
I'm going to pull everybody out then. Because, I mean, our safety is number one. Yes. I mean, yes, we're out here, you know, with our local group, we're trying to help people figure out what's going on in their house.
Yeah.
The bigger group, you know, it's just for fun.
Yeah.
But when somebody gets hurt or the shit's getting up to the point where it's just, you know, even if stuff's flying around at people and it's going to get them hurt, it's time to pull them out then.
Yeah,
and
that's...
I've seen that on TV, you know. I think it was Taps. I don't know if you've ever watched that. They were, where were they? I think it was like an old...
they were in a prison, jail.
Yeah, they were at the prison.
And the camera, it wasn't even
the
one
camera
of the
guy.
cast members. The camera guy.
Yeah.
He got knocked down.
Yeah, and that's done after that.
Yeah.
I think they kept going, and then, I mean, that's their decision. That's fine. Was it stupid? I'm not saying yes or no, But me, if that happens to one of our crew,
Yeah, we're done.
done.
Yeah.
We actually had to be really careful at one of our investigations. We were at Jekyll Island Club Hotel in Georgia.
that sucker's nice too, man.
Very, very
We got
nice.
treated like celebrities. Yes.
We did. Actually, we got to investigate one of the rooms of a celebrity, which was really cool that night. We got to investigate Reba McEntire's room.
The lights
hell
went
yeah.
out. The lights went out.
Yeah,
Yours
fans
did.
are don't let
Yeah.
me down.
It was really
Damn.
exciting. The thing, I'll tell you the quick story about that, and then
Well,
I'll tell
gotta
you.
look. Jekyll Island is like a It used to be. Still, it's a private island.
It is. It's privately
It
owned.
started out as a hunting area. Rich people would come, they'd pay, they'd stay there in the club, and they'd go out. It's full of turkey, fox, deer, and they just hunt.
Oh, hell.
Yeah, so this probably,
Wow.
it's super nice, man.
It is.
It's awesome.
So we go there and we got to investigate her room. It is only her room. Nobody else gets to stay there. She's actually rented it out as her own. She does not like to clean up after herself. That's the thing. She does not really. She's not really a messy a person, but she
Just
doesn't
likes
want
things where they're at.
right.
Yeah.
She likes them where she puts them, kind of like her home. I mean, you don't want people coming into your own home and moving stuff. So she's asked the cleaning crew there not to clean it. So she leaves one night and she comes back and she's noticed that her room's been cleaned. You know, her bed's made, the shower's cleaned up, all this stuff. Like the toilet paper's fixed, how they do in nice hotels. And she went down to the staff and she's like, please, I've asked you before, don't clean my room. You know, if anybody's going to clean it, it's going to be me. You know, and I don't blame her. You know, that's pretty nice to actually tell the staff, you know. And it just kept happening and kept happening. So she's like, I don't understand, you know, there's like mints on my pillow and all this kind of stuff. So we put up cameras and everything. And of course, we didn't really catch much that night. We caught a few sounds and stuff like that. But so what happened was she all of a sudden, she noticed that there was things being left in her room. And the whole staff has told her, look, we don't leave anything in your room. We haven't cleaned your room.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, okay, they can come to my house because
Yeah.
I'd like to have
Oh,
a
yeah.
ghost that cleans my house for me when I don't want him to, you know?
Hey, my fiance yells at me every day. I'd gladly take that. Hey.
So she said that there was also things being left, like money, like tips. And she's like, okay, first of all, I'm not leaving it for the staff, but the staff's not leaving me money. You know, they have no reason to. So we actually found out something really cool about this. The money and stuff that's been left there as what she calls tips, it comes out of nowhere. Nobody knows where it comes from. The staff doesn't claim to do it. Reba doesn't claim to do it. So she actually opened an account, a fund that actually helps children during the wintertime. She buys them shoes and coats and mittens and hats with the money that comes from this place. So that's one of the reasons that we were asked to come out there, and we were actually asked by Jekyll Island Club Hotel for the Ghost Hunt Weekends crew to actually come out there for them. We didn't call them, they called us. And, you know, that's
Cool.
Yeah, see,
super
like,
awesome.
At first, they didn't want anything like that to get out.
No.
You know, we're haunted. We don't want anybody to know. So they told the staff, keep your mouth shut. Don't say nothing about the haunting.
Yeah, they weren't allowed to talk to us
And
while
then
we were there.
Just one day, I guess it got bad enough and they needed help.
Yeah.
And that's when they contacted Chase.
And then whenever we started doing the investigation, you know, we came back to them. We're like, this is the stuff that we found. They're like, yes, that's the stuff we're going through, you know, and we can show you now. We can show you videos and we can show you what we've caught, you know, audio. And I mean, the stuff was incredible. And they have this one place there. And I think they called it the cottage or something.
The Hollyborn.
The Hollyborn house, yes.
Yep.
The Hollyborn house. And they had closed it down. They noticed that whenever they started renovations in it, they were trying to fix it up to open it up to the public. Well, they ended up not opening it up to the public because the crew that they had brought in there to fix it up, whenever they started the renovations, the workers were getting hurt.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
They actually did shut it down. And the
They
claims
said, man, they said saw blades was being thrown.
thrown,
and shit.
hammers,
Fuck.
hitting
God.
hitting the workers and
Hey,
knocking
it
them
was-
out and
It was so bad, they left all their high dollar tools and shit
inside the Hollyborn house.
Yes.
Oh, my God.
So finally,
Can't blame them.
we'd been talking to them for years and years, and I mean, we've done the Jekyll Island for quite some time. They actually agreed to open it up to us.
Yeah.
And so as soon as they did, we were like, you're kidding us. You know, like, we've been asking you forever. Are you serious? Yeah, so whenever they opened it up to us, we were incredibly happy, and they didn't offer that to anybody because Jekyll Island actually has very strict rules that they have to follow. Like the Jekyll Island crew, I guess that's what they call them, their legion doesn't allow certain things, like your houses. You can't have over a certain amount of height on your own house. They don't allow it. You won't actually go and see a 3-story house sitting on the island anywhere you go, because they have like a height requirement. And you're not allowed to build on certain things to parts to your houses. So whenever they were doing the renovations on the Hollyborn, you know, they had to follow strict rules of what they could and couldn't do to it. So after we found out all the stuff about, you know, the hammers and the saws and these workers getting hurt, one of the things that we had to remember is one of the biggest things that can actually spark up, you know, paranormal activity is redoing something.
Yeah, they don't like the change.
They don't like the changes, and they don't want you to move or make something new. They like it the way it is, and they don't want you to change it. So that can actually spark up a lot of it. And I think that's exactly what happened, because, I mean, these guys were getting hurt and hammers thrown at them, you know?
Yeah.
And
So-
they didn't. It took them a couple of years to allow us.
It
just
did.
to go in and investigate it. 'Cause
I
they
mean,
were so worried about
several
people getting
times
hurt.
that
So
we
with them
tried,
up-
we were told no.
Them workers were just like, look, we can't do this.
Oh yeah. hell
Yeah,
no,
they just
that's
left and
what it
left.
is.
They left
I
everything.
said,
And they
all
shut the
their
doors.
Tools, they're gone. They just left them in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did they say, hey, you guys going to come back and get it? They're like, nope.
They
So
just left it.
So,
the actual renovations were never completed. You can actually see where they were in there working, but they never finished it. So whenever they opened the doors, we actually went in and, you know, we took several crews in there and we got to investigate in there, which was very interesting. I mean, we found a lot of things that were, I mean, not of this world, as I guess what you could say
It's
is.
just
Yeah.
a different feeling.
It's
a
totally different being in there. It was crazy. That's one of the best ones that we've ever had. It's the most original building that we've ever done, especially with so much history going on inside of it.
yeah. I want to ask y'all about Chad and Stacey, but first, something that I really... Do you guys kind of feel like some of these ghost, like the shows on TV, kind of almost shit on your all's profession? Because you know, they're like, oh, we heard that noise, and it's like the camera guy's buddy upstairs, like, oh, look here, we,
There's actually one. I'm not gonna.
We're not gonna say any
name
names.
the show, but
No.
he's a big, muscly guy. If that makes sense.
yeah,
And it's not his whole crew really, but it's scripted.
the guy we were talking about
Yeah.
that laid in the bed and said that,
Yes, that
yeah,
guy.
yeah. This guy's a joke.
Yeah. It's scripted, and I mean it's TV. They're just trying to get TV ratings on it. So, I mean, some of the techniques that they use and shit like that. I mean that's legit. It's real.
Yeah.
But the stuff that they say that happens,
Not real,
no,
not real.
it's like I said, it's just good TV. But as far as the others, yeah, I mean it's legitly happening. It's real.
Yeah.
I mean, and anybody that's a paranormal investigator, they can tell that what's happening is real, or if it's fake.
But do you feel like they gave, like you guys are legit, so do you feel like they kind of give you guys a
It
bad
does.
name? I mean, honestly.
It does.
It really does. I mean, especially with all the hard work that, you know, our crew does. And, I mean, both crews. We put a lot of time into this, a lot of effort. We go over a lot of audio, a lot of, you know, video footage. It takes hours. I mean, people see what they see on TV, you know, from when we film, and from what you see on TV is cut, but they don't take into consideration the hours that we actually put in behind the scenes of what, you know, you might investigate for 2 hours. It might take you 2 weeks to figure out all the, you know, the audio and the video footage that we have to go through. And we have to go through it over several times. You know, is that really what we saw? You know, we're going to take this back and debunk this, you know, this one photo. You know, is this real? Is it lights glaring? Is it, you know, I mean, they don't actually realize how much work goes into one simple investigation. So whenever they film, you know, I mean, even us, when we're filming, we are just going back and forth between audios and the videos, and we have to watch every little segment. When we're recording on our recorders, we have to do like 2-minute increments, because people don't realize if you sit there and you record for hours and you got to realize that you're going to have to listen to every bit of that. So it's easier for us to break down on our recorders when we're recording for like 2 minutes or so. It's easier to go over that, information in a 2 minute than it is for sitting there for an hour, because you're going to have to sit there and go through every bit of that, and sometimes several times, to make sure that you've heard what you've heard or seen what you've seen. So doing it that way actually makes it a little easier for us to do it. But yeah, people, they see what they see on TV, but they don't realize what goes into actually seeing what the real part of the investigation, takes to find all this evidence, and it takes hours.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much time actually goes into it. So
I mean, just because you don't see something doesn't mean there isn't activity going on in there. Like, there may be something you pick up, maybe they didn't catch when they put on the show, or
Right.
things that, like, you guys listened back to something today and noticed a voice that you didn't notice originally. I mean,
Right.
You know what I mean? You could throw that out there not knowing that. I mean, so I just think a lot of the times people, just because they don't see something, oh, this is BS. And let's be honest, like I was telling you guys, that YouTube show, that guy'd sit there and cuss. Man, he had a woman talking about a hellhound was coming down the damn stairs, and she had her hand out like, come on, come on. I'm like, dude, this is a little too much, dude. I mean, she started naming the thing. I was like,
Come here, Spike.
what the fuck are we watching?
I'm like,
But they'll sit there and cuss them, and, oh, you pussy. And shit.
oh yeah.
I'm like, that to me gives you people like you all a bad name.
And really, when you start provoking the way they do,
Yeah.
that's when the really bad shit happens.
Oh, yeah.
And we don't want that to happen. I mean, yeah, we're trying to prove this shit, but we don't want anybody to get hurt in the process of trying to prove it.
Yeah.
And it's just, it does make people frown upon us a little bit, but for the most part, I guess they can tell.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, there's a lot of paranormal teams out around the U.S., the world these days.
Yeah.
And when you got a paranormal team coming, say you have something going on at your house, well, yeah, we'll come in, we'll do an investigation. No, it's only, $50 an hour, blah, blah, blah. So that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's no professional out there. We can't go to this person and say, hey, you're the pro. Can you tell me if this is real or fake? We're learning as we go. Each paranormal team will tell you that. We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
And the way we do it, if there's somebody that needs us, they'll say, what do you charge? Well, first off, if somebody's charging you, you don't want them there. They're just there for the money. They're not there. They're going to give you some bullshit story. Oh, we caught this and that, and that's what you got.
Yeah.
You don't want that. We say, listen, we'll come out, and we'll check it, and we'll listen to you, see if we need to hunt it for you or whatever. If you want to give us some money, we'll take a donation.
Yeah.
But we're not going to sit here and tell you that we're going to charge you to come give you help. Because, you got to buy batteries, you got to update your equipment, stuff like that. But still, that's not what we're there for. We're there to help these people out that need the help.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's groups out there that does give the real ones bad names, but that's anything really.
Yeah,
we
you
go
could,
with the punches and.
But I wish people like you guys got a chance to shine and show
Right.
people the real side of it.
And it's coming. It's.
And I'm just gonna
it's
throw
getting
this
out
out
there.
here. Y'all should make a documentary where
Right.
you all show the live, the true
Yeah.
side of a ghost hunter. I think
Right.
that'd be cool, and
That would be
I don't
cool.
want any credit for that.
That would-
Maybe but that would be cool. That way people
would.
get
Oh,
a
yeah.
real, like, hey, look, we're not big name on TV, but
Right.
we're gonna we're gonna show you. We we do it because we love this,
Yeah.
not for the money part
Right.
of it.
Yeah, and that's all it is.
Yeah, and I think a lot of those shows do force stuff because you can kind of sit
Oh,
there and tell. Because half the shit they say they see, you're like, what?
Yeah.
I didn't see that, dude.
Yeah.
I didn't
Well,
hear that.
if you notice, you'll sit there and you'll watch it, and gets real close to something that like they've heard something or they've seen something, then they go to commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, then the commercial comes off and it goes back to the show, and then they replay that same part and they drag it on, and then you never see anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, they're saying they've seen it, and I understand that. You're either going to see something or you're not. Sometimes you can't catch it with your audio, you can't catch it with your video. You might see it with your eye, but it won't catch on your cam. That's fine. But whenever they're doing these shows, I'm not claiming that everyone's bad, because they're not. These clients and people want to see and hear stuff. Like, it's like the skeptics. You want to see, because you're not going to believe what you've seen or hear until it happens to you.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what you're seeing on TV compared to what it is that we actually do is 10 times different, because, like he said, there's some that are scripted. There's some that are live and they do what we do, which is great. I love the fact that they do the real. But,
Yeah.
I mean, other than that, I mean, what you're seeing is nothing like what actually happens. So, I hate that for people, because they're not showing you the real of the real, what we deal with.
Yeah, and like you were saying, I mean, they're saying, "Oh, did you see that?" You know,
And you're like,
no. I see a chair.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a chair. I mean,
Yeah.
what are you trying to show?
So you guys got started, Chad and Stacey. Let's talk a little bit about them. How did they come up and get into ghost?
It actually started out just Chad and Stacey.
Yeah.
Are they over the Ghost Hunter weekends? Right?
Ghost Hunt
They are
weekend.
Ghost Hunt
actually
weekend?
the founder and, the bosses. Chad's actually the one that founded the company himself, because of all the experiences that he had when he was little, all the way through his adulthood, and the same thing with his wife. And they decided that this was going to be something they wanted to do, because they also wanted to prove that this could be real. They wanted to get evidence and proof for people. And, excuse me.
I can't think of the name of the book, but he actually has a book out.
He does. He
Yeah.
has a book.
About paranormal.
And he also, believe it or not, got into a little bit of like the Sasquatch thing too a long time ago. And he used to have a crew that went out and did that. And, he wrote up a little bit about that as well, because he said that he believes that he had an encounter when he was very small as a young child. And that's what got him interested in that, and then the paranormal came from his other experiences. And, and then he had what he calls his original crew, which was very few people, and that was right before us, actually. And he actually has, two still original crew from the very first start.
2 or 3, yeah.
And unfortunately, we had a friend who had passed away from that original crew just a few years ago, which is really sad. Crew kind of hasn't been the same since then, but we've been gaining a lot of other crew members, which is really great, training some new ones. We've actually got one young person right now. So Chad and Stacey have kind of taught us everything we know about the ghost hunting, and we've brought that into our smaller group here in Greeneville. And I'd say pretty much if it wasn't for them teaching us what we know now, I wouldn't feel that I was as professional as I am, because I don't feel like I'd get that anywhere else. And they base their the ghost hunt weekends right out of Pigeon Forge, Tennessee.
That's where they're located?
They are located in Pigeon Forge. We actually have a traveling trailer. We do...
got 2 now, or 3, 2 or 3.
Or 2, 3 now. We have these... We do the huge events. We do small events. We pretty much do... if somebody calls us and says, hey, we need you to come out here, we set up these huge events. One of the biggest events that we've done with Chad and Stacey was the Sloss Furnaces in Birmingham, Alabama. He's been saving forever to prove everything that everybody wants to know, all the questions.
It's his own money.
Yes.
His money.
It started with him.
Starting all this. Yeah.
So he has a deep passion for it.
Right.
He does.
Yeah.
He really does.
Yeah, and you won't find any better people than Chad or Stacey.
No.
I mean, when they first met, they opened up their home to us. I mean, they said, hey, anytime you're here, come crash with us for the weekend, whatever. There's been plenty of times where we've stayed the weekend with them to go to an event.
Wow.
Yeah.
We drive up our
We'll show up on a
car, we
Thursday, show up Thursday night, and we'll just crash on the couch or whatever, and we just hang out. He has like a little bar in his house, we'll sit there and have some drinks and talk shit all night. And
yeah, and they're more family.
They are. It's like
sounds
a family.
Brothers
Yeah.
and sisters. I mean, if you need anything, you call them and they're there. I mean, they'll drive here from Sevierville right now if I need them.
Yeah.
And that's just how they are. Birthdays, they come celebrate birthdays with.
Our boss right now, she has. I just got to get this out there. She has spent several years, like over 10 years, her and her husband trying to get pregnant, and I think it's just the greatest thing in the whole wide world. That's one of the things that we're celebrating right now. We had family from all over, our crew members coming down because we celebrated a baby shower just the other day because she's going to have a baby, which is so great.
Shout out to Chad and Stacey.
It
They sound like great people,
Oh, yeah.
man.
They really are, and I couldn't be any more happy for them, and they really deserve it. And I think it's gonna do wonders for their life, and just besides this paranormal thing, and
They actually care about the crew and
They do.
the guests coming in to do the events with us. They really do care.
That's cool.
And they want to give them a good time, and they know how to. I mean, Chad, this started 5-6 years ago. I guess he started bringing in celebrities off the TV.
yes,
You know,
we work with them.
we've got the Wraith Chasers under contract right now,
Wow.
and they're on
Yeah.
TV. I think they're called Haunted Towns.
Haunted Towns.
Live now.
Yes.
We've had Adam Berry, Joe Chin, Amy Bruni from Taps, Ghost Hunters.
Wow.
Joe Chin, he's from
Ghost Hunters
Ghost Hunter International.
Chip Coffey, Psychic Medium.
I've heard
Grant
that
Wilson,
shit.
we've got Grant Wilson.
I've
Yeah.
heard of him.
So he brings these people in from TV,
Right.
and like I said, he's paying them out of his pocket.
So he,
Yes.
yeah, he sounds
Yeah.
like a big deal then. Wow.
Yeah, he
So
brings them in, so the people, they're getting to investigate the paranormal, but they're also experiencing it with the celebrities
Right.
at the same time. So, I mean, he's doing it for the people. That's
Wow.
just how they are. He wants to give them a good time, and that's what he does. You can't beat Chad and Stacey.
yeah, or,
No.
I mean part 2 with Chad and Stacey.
Right.
Oh, yeah. All right,
Yeah.
shit.
And they would more likely do it. I
Yeah,
guarantee you
they
would
sound.
do it.
I mean, they sound like really good people. So I felt like we had to kind of
Yeah.
talk about them, and that's where you guys got your start.
Yeah, if it hadn't been for them, we wouldn't be where we are
Right.
today
Yeah.
with our big crew or
Yeah.
our small one.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we owe everything to them.
All right, so you guys want to kind of talk about when you do your hunts and everything, maybe how people, if they want to do one, how they can get in contact, or
Yeah, Elena, go ahead.
Absolutely. If you need any help around, like, the local area, like Greeneville, Limestone, Johnson City, Bristol, anything like that, pretty
Shit,
close
we'll
to
go
Greeneville.
Knoxville if we
We'll
need.
go to
If it's good
Knoxville. We
enough,
don't
we'll go.
care. We like to travel.
You tell me Freddy Krueger's in your house. I'm going.
yeah, hey, we'll be there.
You can actually contact us through our website on Facebook. It's Ghost Hunters, Greeneville Ghost Hunters. And I don't care. I'll just throw some phone numbers out here if you need those too. It's a 588-0896.
At 423.
Yes,
area
423 area code on both of these, and then it's a 329-1458. You can get in contact with either one of us on the small ones. If you need our bigger website with the Ghost Hunt Weekends, to get in touch with us to do a huge event, if you want to do it with us and the celebrities, you can get a hold of us at ghosthuntweekends.com. You can either get a hold of me or Kevin. You can get us on our personal Facebook page. Or you can contact Chad and Stacey Morin. They are, like I said, from Pigeon Forge, and they're the runners of the Ghost Hunt Weekends, and we'd love to have you guys out there. I mean, come out and have a great time. I mean, you will not regret it. It is a blast.
Yes, and we can vouch. So before we go, I had an idea. I'm going to switch it up a little bit. So let's say we're going to name some movies, and let's say name your top 3 movies where it would scare the shit out of you if you had to investigate it. Come on. I know this is
man,
tough. Hey, we throw curveballs on this
This is a
show.
curveball.
Like,
Okay.
Movies that would scare
Alright.
the shit out of us.
yes,
Okay.
okay. And then now let's say like Paranormal Activity. Let's just say it was real.
Okay.
All right, yeah, they could
yeah.
be one that turned out to be fake, but let's say it was real. Like, I mean, mine would be The Conjuring. I would be like,
Oh, shit.
nope.
Me.
That's
We were
a pretty
talking
bad
about
one.
it earlier.
The nurse
Oh.
in the second one. If you seen that bitch in your hallway, hey,
Running the other fucking
no,
way.
well,
Let's see, mine. We were talking earlier. When it comes to exorcisms,
yes,
if it's an adult, I don't know why I'm like this. And I don't give a shit if an adult gets
Yeah.
damn possessed. That's fine or whatever. But when it comes to kids, dude, I can't.
well, that's not
I
fine,
can't
Kevin.
do it.
Let's not say that. That's not cool either. But a kid.
Yeah. So I mean that exorcism shit, that definitely be in my top 3 right there. That
Yes.
I would probably shit my pants.
Yeah.
And wouldn't wipe for a week.
So if Emily Rose rung your phone, no, I can't do it, Emily.
No.
You know that's actually based off a German girl, right? The Emily Rose is actually Annalise Michelle.
Annalise.
Now,
Yeah.
Yes.
now let me tell you this. There's a movie about Annalise Michelle, and if you thought Emily Rose was scary, hey, They said this chick was possessed by Hitler, some old 16th century, because she was possessed by like 7 demons.
Yeah.
It scared me. Emily Rose ain't got shit on this bitch. Hey, I'm telling you, but there's other crazy stuff in that movie. That one scared me probably more than Emily Rose did, because it's actually based off, and she died, man. I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
it was a horrible story, but I could agree.
There's another one though. Like I said, it's not really paranormal based, I would say, and it's fake as shit. But for some reason it gives me the damn heebie-jeebies.
Yeah.
The damn Blair Witch Project.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was crazy.
It was.
That's what I was gonna say.
There's something
I was like,
about them
mind
damn
you, all the runny
rocks
noses
being
and
thrown.
shit, but I mean,
Yeah.
No, did you see the
that's not
second
stuff
one?
you want to deal with.
No, I didn't watch that. I'm too damn.
The second one, they made it into an actual movie, right? Well,
Yeah.
what it is they have a little ghost hunt team like you guys
Yeah.
got. So this dude brings all these people out, and that witch would manipulate each one of them until they start killing each other.
Right.
Well, the fucking police show up, and all this shit they thought they seen when they killed them, like they hung this one chick, because she, to them, was standing there antagonizing them.
Yeah.
And it turned out on camera, she's like, please stop, I didn't do anything, don't hurt me. And they think she's sitting there like, talking shit.
Yeah.
And the witch just kind of manipulates all of them into killing each other until it
Damn.
gets down to the last 3, and they're sitting in an interrogation room and they're watching the video, and nothing they seen happened.
Damn.
Yeah, dude,
Holy
it was
fuck.
just it was them straight up, and I said, dude, what if no? That's why I can't go into places like that, dude.
Wow.
Well, I don't
I'm
have
gonna
top
watch
3,
that.
but I have top 2.
All right, name 2.
I can name 2. Okay, like he said, the Blair Witch, and then I'm sorry, and it is a great movie. But the second one would be Annabelle, because
Yes.
you don't want to put yourself into that situation where a doll is gonna, fucking
fuck
kill
you
you.
up, man.
So let me tell you this, real quick. The reason I say Annabelle is because we go to this event. It's huge, and it's in Lexington, Kentucky. They call it Scarefest. Anybody,
Oh, man.
any client can actually go.
It's like Comic-Con, but it's for
It
paranormal
is.
shit.
It's for
Oh,
paranormal.
Celebrities
Damn.
off TV shows
So
like that.
everybody that you see on TV is usually there, and you can buy your tickets. You can go to Lexington, Kentucky Convention Center. Go to scarefest.com. You can actually buy tickets. They do it on a yearly basis. You can get your tickets there, and you can also get your tickets for Ghost Hunt Weekends on our website.
And this
But this is going to freak you out. They actually had, 2 years ago, they had the actual Annabelle doll sitting at the walk-in
Oh, shit.
as you went into the Lexington Convention Center. But it's
No.
sitting in a box. They have it locked up in a box, and you can't open this box.
Yeah.
Good.
And it's the real one.
Yeah, it's
So-
like an old
Yeah.
Annie doll.
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah,
You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Raggedy Ann.
And it's this is the stuff that we get to see, being, they bring relics and all this kind of shit, from all the real movies and stuff, or like the Annabelle doll, it sits there and stares at you as you walk in through the door.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, shit.
you're passing the real Annabelle doll, and to me, that gives me the willies. I don't care who you are.
No, I read a story where these, back when Ed and Lorraine had their museum, well, this motorcycle guy and his girlfriend come in. Well, they're going up and fucking tapping on the glass. When he left, he wrecked, died. She survived. And I'm going to tell you something. I don't fuck with Annabelle.
Oh, fuck
No,
no.
no.
No, I just ballsy dude tapping on. No, no, I don't play with Annabelle.
And that bitch, that damn doll moves, dude.
But the girl that
Yeah.
possessed it was creepy as shit too.
Oh,
Yeah,
Remember
she wasn't
her?
good herself
yeah.
either. So, I guess you could say the worst thing with all this paranormal stuff is, we live day to day fearing that we could be possessed,
Yeah. Yes, that scares me.
Which, by the way, is why we wear, believe it or not, we have charms. I know a lot of people don't believe in that stuff, but we wear bracelets. Okay, these are protection bracelets. Okay, and then we also have something that was given to us from one of our really good friends, Chip Coffee. He's an actual medium, psychic medium. He gave Kevin these little relics on a necklace that he can wear that's supposed to help protect him. St. Michael's, and he advises us all to wear stuff like that when we go on hunts, and there's protection prayers and things that we have to use sometimes if we feel like that's not a good place to be, or so if you can't be forceful enough, they want you to say some of these prayers, or just to let them know, hey, this is real.
What is
Don't come near
what
me.
is it? What is it? Lorraine Warren used to say something about your in all white. It's something she used to say to people to where they wouldn't get. I guess if something happened, it kind of protected them.
It's pretty much a protection
Yeah,
spell.
it's like, yeah.
I know people don't say like spells and stuff work. I guess you could say it's more like a chant. Mm-hmm. Not like it's not really even a prayer. It's just something that a saying that they use for protection. I mean, like lots of people use different things. So I mean, there's tons of stuff out there.
You never really know what you're going to get into.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't.
What if you were in The Conjuring 2 in that room with all the crosses?
No,
Started turning it
no.
up,
I
so-
wouldn't put myself in that predicament. Anyways, I'd be like, you want to go? Hell no.
See,
No, I'm not dumb.
So that's some creepy shit.
It is, man. Well, Letty, since you're so full of words this
yeah.
episode, name some movies
Some
that
movies,
you would
the
scare the hell out
Omen,
of
like
you.
the demonic shit from the Omen.
Yes.
Fuck that shit.
Yeah, that's
That little
a-
boy,
I've seen
I
that.
would punch that little boy in the
Yes.
throat. And yes, fuck
What
him.
is it? I'm not
The
sure.
Omen.
The Omen.
They did a remake.
Yeah, the remake. Oh shit.
What was his name? Damien.
Yeah, Damien. He gets possessed.
See, that's why I'm
The
not
demonic.
saying the damn thing.
No, it's like Satan.
Yeah,
he's
Satan.
Satan's son.
Yeah, he's Satan's
Oh,
spawn.
God.
Some demonic
Yeah.
shit going on. He like makes this fucking maid kill herself. Don't she like walk off the fucking balcony
Yeah.
and flat? Fuck
Yeah.
that shit.
Yeah, and he like made his.
They made
somebody-
video games about it.
Really?
If you want to play it, it's called
They had
Lucius.
a.
to make people kill themselves.
What was the one of the workers said? Damien, I'm doing this for you, and just jumps
Yeah,
off
and
the
just
top
jumps
of
off
a
the
building.
fucking building.
Yeah.
Doing
Yeah.
this for you, and
And that little kid's just
bam.
standing there like
Just
I'm
looking
like,
at him just dead
Yeah.
straight. That's why my son will never have a bowl cut.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or he's like, honey, let's name him Damien. No.
Fuck
What
no.
about you? You got a movie?
Yeah.
You don't have a movie that you wouldn't want to...
Yeah.
Annabelle, another
Yeah.
Annabelle.
Hey, I'll tell you, this guy here, Austin, he's our son. He just turned 13 in March. But for the past, 2 years?
2 years now.
He's been doing
Yeah, he seems like he's
investigations
really into it.
Oh,
with us.
yeah.
He is. I guess he's just at that age.
Yeah,
He
we're
knew what we was doing. He's a smart kid anyways. But he knew, we tell you, we're going on a ghost hunt or whatever. And just one day he's like, hey, I want to go. And at first, not really based from a safety standpoint. We just didn't know if he'd be able to handle it being that young.
I was 10.
But yeah, I was,
He's
yeah,
like,
I'm
yeah.
big enough.
I'll take
But,
on the
Double
Damien.
digits, man.
Yeah, we took him and he's actually helped us because they say like animals and kids are
Yeah.
sensitive to that stuff, and he's actually benefited us quite a bit being on some of our investigations.
Why do y'all think kids can see?
I think, believe it or not, I think it's easier for them to see things and to be able to talk to them because they're so pure of heart.
Yeah, and they're more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They haven't been through. Most children his age or whatever, or younger even, they haven't dealt with the huge tragedies of life yet.
Yeah.
They don't know, the things that we know. They don't know the severity of how bad things can actually get in this life yet. And I think that actually leaves them open to so much, and leaves it to where that if I'm sorry if your kid comes up and says, "Well, I've been playing with so and so outside on the swing." Listen to your
who?
kids.
Yeah.
It's not such a thing to say, well, you've got a great imagination. Well, some kids do. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I know I hate those movies. They write it off. Timmy's got an invisible friend.
yeah, exactly.
No, he don't.
If your kid's coming up to you and they're telling you, I'll tell you what, you better believe them.
Yes.
And as far as from an investigating standpoint with him, anyways, we've been at the old jail here in town. We've had a small group in there, and we wouldn't be getting nothing.
Nothing at all.
And he just jump up out of the blue and start asking some questions, and he'd get responses. I mean, like immediately, he would get
Really?
something reply
Damn.
back to him. Yeah, and I don't know if it was maybe he was talking to a ghost kid or what, but for some reason he was able to get responses when we couldn't.
Yeah.
So sometimes.
You just had a connection. Yeah.
Yeah, he had some stuff go on last night. That is right. We had an investigation last night, and we were using the flashlight to communicate. And we were talking, wouldn't get much nothing. And he said something along the lines of, well, if you talk to me, will you turn the flashlight on? And as soon as he said it, flashlight turned on. And yeah, I don't know why, but he helps us out quite a bit.
He does,
Wow.
especially when it's a child. So
Yep.
he brings it's like he brings them out, or they're drawn to him. I guess because he's young, and they can sense that, and they really like talking to him. And sometimes we've actually noticed, like with him, we could sit there and ask the same question over and over and not get nothing, and then he'll just say it. And I'm gonna say it like this, but not mean it in a bad way. His young, cute little voice,
Yeah.
he has a child's voice,
Yeah.
and it's soft and very easy going, I guess you could say, and the responses are crazy sometimes. I mean, he held a whole conversation with what we are considering to be a child at one of the jails, so it was hard to think that there might be a child out of jail like that, but yeah, he brought him out. So
Wow.
some of our best investigations have been with him asking questions. So just being young doesn't have anything to do with it, and I mean, he's not really scared. He's like all of us. He wants to know. So
All right. Well, hey, we'd like to thank y'all for being on the
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
I think
thanks
we're-
for
Yeah.
having us.
absolutely.
end it there. I think we learned a lot. Say it one more time for the
We got
boys
the
and
local
girls.
crew is Greeneville Ghost Hunters on Facebook.
Yes.
And the paranormal event is ghosthuntweekends.com.
All right. Check them out, guys. We vouch
Yeah.
for them. Thank you guys again for being on the
No
show.
problem.
No
Thank
problem
you.
at all.
For episode 26 of the Ready, Set, Show podcast, I'm DT.
And I'm Letty.
And remember, if you can't say anything nice,
We'll gladly say it for you.
we out. Peace. Ooh.